Okay, so right now I have a pretty good life. I have a wonderful husband and two beautiful sons. And I can't believe that there was a time where I almost threw all of that away over protective styles. Hi, my name is Mimi, and welcome back to my channel, Untwisted. And I just want to switch things up a little bit today and do a story time. So let's hop into it. So back the last time I went natural was in 2011. So that is when I went natural for the last and final time. And it was a very good time in my life. I was in my 20s. I had just gotten my own place. I had paid off my student loans. I had paid off my first car. I had got a promotion at work. Very much in my independent woman ever. And at the time, I was a protective style natural. So I wore my hair in ponytails, I wore my hair in braids, and I wore my hair in kinky twists. And I had started doing them myself because at the time when I used to go to the salon and get it done, the people would complain about having to do my hair. So I'm like, I'm natural, and I go to a braiding salon with my blown out hair, and the woman braiding my hair is telling me that I need a perm. So then I was over it. So I had started doing all this stuff by myself. When I had not much going on the weekends, that's when I would do my hair over. So I started dating this dude, and because he would come hang out all the time on the weekends, um, either we were going out on a date or he was like hanging out at my crib. So I'm like, I had to start doing my protective styles in front of him. And he goes, why do you always have to have somebody else's hair in your head? And I was like, excuse me? And then he started asking me like all these weird questions that I had never really thought about, like, whose hair is it? Like, if it's fake, if it's real. And he's like, everybody knows that that's not your real hair. And I was like, that's not the point. Like, I'm wearing my hair this way because this is how I like to wear my hair. So there was some back and forth. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't think this guy is for me. So I was getting ready to break it off. Because I was like, I need to be able to be who I am in my own space. But then I had to pause because what he was actually saying to me, and not the most eloquent way, is that he preferred the way I look with the hair growing out my scalp because he's seen it. So I had to calm down a little bit, take in what he was saying, and say, okay, he's saying he doesn't like my protective style. And like I said, in my independent woman era, I don't care who don't like my protective styles. I'm gonna wear them. But what it did plant in me or awaken in me. So what he was saying is he didn't like my protective styles. Like he preferred my hair all natural, without any extensions or anything like that. And I was like, cool, do this entitled to his opinion. But at the same time, this is my house. I'm gonna do what I want. Like I worked hard for all this independence to have some dude come in and try to dictate how I should do my hair. So I thought about breaking it off. And ultimately I decided not to. Because what he planted the seed in me, it undid a lot of years of me thinking my hair wasn't good enough. And so to have a guy come around and say, oh, no, I prefer your hair, your all natural hair, the way it is. I was like, all right, let me give this dude another chance. So I didn't break it off. And that is now the man I've been married to for 7 years, have my two beautiful kids with. Okay, so I decided not to kick dude to the curb. I let him hang around. I wore protective styles, but I didn't wear them all the time like I used to. I started experimenting more with different ways to do my hair. So I started wearing, puffs. I would experiment with twist outs and rod sets and just get used to styling my hair because the previous time I was natural, the first three almost up through senior year of college, I was from freshman to like the middle of senior year of college, I was natural. And the reason it didn't stick is because I didn't want to be in braids all the time, which braids and ponytails, I didn't want to do that all the time. But when I wasn't doing that, I didn't know what to do with my hair. So I took a little bit of what he was saying. Like I still wore my hair in ponytails, kinky twists, and box braids whenever I felt like it. But I did take time in between styles to get used to having my hair out and just different ways I could style my natural hair. And by this time, there were online forums. YouTube was like kind of there, but not really. I didn't spend that much time on YouTube. Just seeing pictures and forums, just seeing what different people with my type of hair, my texture of hair could do. So, I let dude stick around. He passed that test. So fast forward a few years, he proposes. Again, very happy, let him stay around. And I'm glad I did. So now it's time for engagement photos. So I slipped back into protective styling. So to get ready for my engagement photo shoot, we had an engagement photo shoot planned for July in New Jersey. It is hot. It is humid as hell. And I was like, I'm putting some tracks in my hair. Like, I'm finding some weave. I'm finding somebody to put the weave in and all this other stuff. So again, like I said, when he was boyfriend, he was all around all the time. He's fiance now. He's definitely around all the time. And he's like, you can't take pictures with your natural hair. And I was like, no. Like, it's freaking 90 degrees in the humidity in July. But then I took a step back and I was like, can I do this? So I had started playing with rod sets and stuff. And there was this video on a YouTube channel called My Natural Sisters. I used to love that channel. And the girl had did a rod set. And I was like, YouTube always makes things look a little faster, a little easier than they are. But this rod set, it looked super cute. And I was like, I might be able to pull this off. So I went out and tried it. And it looked cute. So that's what I ended up doing for my engagement shoot. I ended up wearing my natural hair. I had to do, it's a long story, but my first shoot got canceled. So it ended up being a makeup trial with my hair. And for that style, I had used a foam and it held up. It held up. Even though we didn't do the official pictures that day, I did the makeup and had my husband take some pictures to see how it looked. And those pictures came out nice. I still use some of those pictures on the internet, even though they're like 7 years old now, but whatever. So that's what happened with the first engagement shoot. The second engagement shoot, it was like really, really ridiculously hot, like 90% humidity. I went ahead and did the rod set again, but did smaller rods, and I used gel, and I made sure those things were bone dry, like old school kind of crunchy curls when I took them out. But once they hit the humidity, they kind of softened and puffed out, and I really, really loved the way those pictures came out. So I'm like, okay, do it again. Opening his mouth, telling me to wear my natural hair, and everything worked out okay. So, the last hurdle with this dude, fiance, getting ready to go into husband, was the wedding. So again, we pick a date, I'm looking, and I'm like, I'm putting tracks in my hair. And of course, dude is always around, it seems like. So eventually he caught me scrolling. He's like, why are you looking at what wig weaves and extensions? He's like, I want to see you. Like, I want to see, my future wife coming down the aisle. And again, all these moments always give me pause. Because I'm like, you sound like you're trying to control me. But what he was really saying is he prefers me to me with extensions. And to be honest, like, I loved braids, I loved ponytails. I was never really that fond of weaves. They take forever, high maintenance, and I feel weird when I can't feel my scalp. So it wasn't like I was in love with weaves and I just had to have my weave. It's like I didn't even really like weaves. I just, they're not me. Like, I didn't like how like the hair can move, and because like there's braids and maybe a wig cap in between, like I couldn't really feel my scalp. Like somebody could be pulling my hair. I don't know, your hair brushes against something, like you can't really, it's weird. It's a weird feeling with a weave. I've only done them twice in my life, and I was like, to be honest, I wasn't attached to the idea of getting a weave. I just thought I would have to in order to keep my hair natural and be a bride. So I wasn't 100% convinced that I would go without a weave for my wedding, but I did start looking at natural hairstyles. And it's funny because I was on Pinterest the other day and I saw the natural hairstyle that was the inspiration for the hairstyle I ended up wearing to my wedding. I'm going to go ahead and put the inspiration up on the screen and keep talking through the story. Okay. So it's getting closer to the wedding. I find a natural hair salon. I do a few trials of updos. And we found one. We found one on the day of my wedding. I felt fantastic. Pictures came back, looked great. I had a great time, and I was fine. I was like, I didn't wear a weave, and I was fine. And I think after that, once I had got through a wedding, my own wedding, with my natural hair in the updo, and just felt on top of the world. Like that was one of the happiest days of my life. Um, it was like the biggest event, me and my husband ever put on. It was fancy. I had like a big, fancy winter wonderland church, 2 states. I got married in New York at the church I grew up in, and then had the reception in New Jersey. It was just so nice. And me having my natural hair without any extensions in it didn't take away from that experience one bit for me. So I was like really happy that I went through with it. And it's funny that this story came up. I wanted to record this video a while ago. So this came up when I was out for lunch with my husband on Valentine's Day. And the funny part is he doesn't even remember ever making a big deal about my hair like that. And I was like, what? So it was a way bigger deal to me than it was to him. And I was like, okay, I know I did the right thing. I know I did the right thing because my hair was never that big of a deal to him. So even if I had, continued to wear, the ponytails, the braids, and Kiki twists all the time, he would still be there for me because he didn't even remember me. Like, I would say he brings up the ponytail once around. He remembers the ponytail. He did not like the ponytail, but like he never brings it up that much anymore. I can't explain it. I could tell by his reaction that he really didn't remember making a big deal about my hair back in 2011. So it's 2023 now. And we were at lunch for Valentine's Day earlier this year, and I had brought up the story to him, like, you used to like pick on me for wearing extensions and stuff, and he didn't even remember it. So it's like I was ready to get rid of this guy, let him go, and all this other stuff. Like I said, throw his life completely away to hold on to protective styles. And it turns out this guy who loved me all along still loves me today. But that wedding with that hairstyle was a milestone for me because I'm like, if I could be in my own wedding and wear my own natural hair, I can go to any special occasion and bang something out. So I know I can even put those rods in and have a cute little elegant look, or I can pin my hair up and be good to go. So for me, that kind of finalized for me that I would never really have a reason to go back to relaxers. Like I was okay with the texture of my hair, and yeah, I could do it with or without protective styles, but I wouldn't say chained. I wasn't limited to protective styles or having to put extensions in my hair in order to go out and have an elegant, great time. And that's when I knew, like, I checked all the boxes. I was like, I can do this. I can do this natural thing for the rest of my life. I do not have to go back to protective styles ever again. Yeah, because like I said, I hadn't reached so many milestones in my life, even back before we got engaged, before we got married. I mean, I had did all those things in 2011. I don't know, gainfully employed, man, wedding, all that good stuff. After I do it, I'm like, if I wear protective styles because I want to, not because I think I have to, in order to get what I want out of life. I don't know if that makes sense. Because there was a time where I thought I had to wear protective styles. Like my natural hair was not good enough, wasn't long enough, it was too tightly curled, it wasn't good enough. Like I literally had a complex about my hair not being good enough, and wore a scarf on campus at college one time for like 2 weeks until I could get back home and get my hair braided. So I really had a complex about my hair not being good enough or only looking right in protective styles. So for me, once I crossed that threshold of getting married with my natural hair, that just represented like true freedom to me. And that's part of the reason I created a YouTube channel, because people would come up to me in public and like compliment my hair, but it wasn't like, oh, your hair is just like outrageously beautiful. It's like, oh, I can kind of see you have regular schmegular hair like me, and you're out and you look okay. Like, I feel like that's the vibe I would get from people. Like, people would come up to me and confess, like, oh yeah, I'm natural under here. One day I'm gonna go like that. I mean, like people I didn't even know. And so I thought my story might be valuable to some people if I shared it on the internet. And that's why I started my YouTube channel back when I had some, I wouldn't call it quiet time because, like I said, I got two kids running around the house, but was able to make time to kind of set up a camera and start sharing. So that was my story time for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back again. Have a good one.